Hey everyone, it's Tracy Martirana here from Holistic Wellness with Tracy, and today I'm inviting you into my kitchen to join me while I make elderberry syrup. Elderberry syrup is a great natural remedy for increasing immunity, decreasing symptoms or the length of time that you might be sick if you have cold or flu. It's filled with antioxidants, so it's just all around good for you any time of year, not just cold and flu season. But if you've ever tried to buy it, it's pretty pricey. And if you're going to try to take it every day or eat it every day, which is what you really should do around cold and flu season, or again, really any time of the year, that can get pretty pricey. So I, years ago, found a recipe and realized, holy cow, this is actually really easy to make. You can customize it to your personal tastes. You can add more herbs if you want to up the herbal factor, or you can leave it as just a simple, straightforward elderberry syrup. It's up to you, and I love recipes like that. Any recipe that I can change and easily make my own, or even year to year, just change it up to try something different if I get tired of the same old thing. Love it. So today we will make a batch and you will see how easy it is. We'll talk a little bit about its benefits and the different ingredients that you might want to include. So get ready, come along, let's make some elderberry syrup. So let's talk ingredients here for a minute. Obviously, first and most importantly, you need elderberries. Now you can use fresh elderberries if it is the proper season and you have elderberries growing near you. However, one word of caution when it comes to using fresh is that if you include any ripe berries or big pieces of stem, you will get a toxin that will pull out of that into your elderberry syrup, and you really don't want that. So if you're using fresh, just be sure you clean them well and make sure you pick out anything so that you're sure you're only using ripe berries. I actually prefer to use the dried berries, for one, just because they're shelf stable. I can buy them and have them on hand. So if I run out of elderberry syrup in January or February, I have some, I can easily make another batch. I always make this at least in the fall to get me through the winter, but it is delicious all year round, if I haven't already said that. Second, you need raw honey. Now, if you just buy a honey in the grocery store that's not raw, that means it's been cooked. It's been pasteurized. Once you cook honey, you lose all the good enzymes that make it honey, that make it good for you. So you want to be sure you're using a raw honey. If you can find a local beekeeper, I was lucky enough to find one this year, so I was able to get a few jars that were this size at a really decent price, which was great. So I bought a few to have in my pantry for the winter. If you can find local is better. You will appreciate that all year long, but especially in the spring as we move into allergy season, having some local raw honey on hand, very good idea. And then spices. So we need to flavor this up a little bit. I always use ginger, just a little, like an inch knob, sliced off a piece of fresh ginger. If you don't have fresh ginger, you can use a couple teaspoons of dried ginger if you have that. I like fresh is always better. And what I do with the fresh, by the way, is I buy fresh, I peel it, I chunk it up, and I stick it in a Ziploc bag and put it in my freezer, and then I always have fresh/frozen ginger at the ready whenever I need it. Now the other thing you need is cinnamon. A couple cinnamon sticks, excuse me. Cinnamon is warming, which is just what you need in cold and flu season, right? And it's also high in antioxidants, just like the ginger. Everything's high in antioxidant here. Everything that we're putting in here is good for your immune system and also good for when you actually are sick, to help your body fight it off. Now you could just leave it at that. Cinnamon and ginger is really all you need. I'm gonna add a couple cloves and a couple black peppercorns, just because I like the warmth of those, and again, they do add a little bit to the herbal goodness. I know some people will put star anise in theirs if you like that flavor. Some people don't, it's pretty strong, but you could do that. You could add nutmeg. spice it really however you want, and any amount of spice or herbs that you put in here is just going to add to the herbal goodness of the syrup. Now, you could stop right there and make a great elderberry syrup that would be perfectly functional. It would be high in antioxidants. It would serve your immune system all winter long. However, you can amp it up a little bit more. I think with this batch, I'm going to add a little echinacea root, and I have some echinacea leaf as well. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of that into it, just to add a little more herbal goodness. And again, you could stop there. Just adding enough honey, this syrup will last in your refrigerator for months. But if you're a little bit worried about it, or you want to have it last a little bit longer, or maybe even you want to be sure that if you leave it out on your shelf or on your counter for a little bit, it still stays good, you can add a little alcohol to it. Now, recipes that I see will call for either vodka or brandy, and to me, vodka would not be right here. You could use it in a pinch, but it just doesn't feel right to me. Something is with that richness of the elderberries really would require brandy. So I'm going to possibly add a little bit of brandy. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. But I do like the richness and the vanilla flavors that come from the brandy. So it is a nice addition if you want to give that a try. And then I just have my measuring cups. I have a pretty little bottle that I will put some in. I usually keep like a bottle like this in my refrigerator with what we're using, and then whatever extra I have, I stick in a mason jar and just have further back in the refrigerator, and then I refill this. And this one is actually pretty small. I have a bigger one that I normally keep, but it looks like this. And then labels, because I don't want to forget, especially my mason jar in the back, I don't want to have to try to figure out what that is in a few months. So label, label, label. I start by getting my saucepan. To the saucepan, I'm going to add about a cup of elderberries, the dried elderberries. It's a little bit scant. If you have, I don't know, more is not always better. I feel like I've made it with the same recipe, but using only about a half a cup, and it turned out okay. So I will add just about a full cup, just so that it's nice and strong and rich. Now to this 1 cup of berries, I'm going to add 4 cups of water. And then I'll add in my spices. So I have my chunk of ginger that I'll pop that in. I have a couple cloves and a couple little black peppercorns and my cinnamon sticks. I'm actually going to sort of break my cinnamon sticks. Well, maybe. I would try. This one's a little thick. Just to give more surface area so I get a little more cinnamon flavor. And then turn on my stove. And I want to just heat this up and bring it up to a boil. Then I'll turn it down and simmer. Now I want to simmer this until it's reduced by half. So right now I have 4 cups of water in there. I want us to reduce down to about 2 cups. So I'm just sort of taking a look at my pan and seeing where, how high up the water level is right now, so that I can sort of gauge where halfway is. And I can check it easily by pouring this out into a measuring cup to see where I'm at. Put it back if it needs to cook a little more. But for now, we just wait. And as this is cooking, I walked away and then realized I didn't add echinacea, and I wanted to. So I'm just going to add, I'd say that's probably about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of the echinacea root. And then probably about the same amount of some leaf, just because I have it. Okay, so I let the elderberries go a little bit longer, and now I think they have cooked down plenty. We may have even gone a little further than I planned, but we shall see how much we have left. So I'm just gonna grab my big Pyrex dish and a little strainer. Because I did put in some echinacea and whatnot, I know there's going to be little bits and pieces I don't really want to come into my final product.
I'm just going to use a little cheesecloth to drain it. And again, beware, it's still pretty hot. I did turn the heat off a minute ago, but it's still steaming. And again, it's dark in color, so it has the potential to stain. So just be aware of that as we pour it in. I'm going to try to get the berries in there. One just went running away. And I'm going to use my spoon to sort of press down and get a little bit more. All that good juice that's hanging out in there. And it looks like I cooked it down, yeah, a little bit much. I cooked it down to almost, well, just a little over a cup. It's a little bit more now than I actually wanted, but that's okay. You can actually add just a little bit of water back in, not really the end of the world. So I'll add just a little water to bring it up closer to 2 cups. I'm going to keep it just a little bit shy of 2 cups. So there it is, my pretty elderberry juice, if you will. It's like an elderberry tea or a tisane. And then the next thing we do is just add the honey. So in this batch, I'm going to use honey and brandy. Again, you could do just honey. Let me find my brandy. We'll add that in first. I should have opened this bottle first. All right, not too bad. So I'm going to add, this is about 2 cups. I'm going to add probably just shy of a 1/4 cup. So I'm just eyeballing it. Again, you could go more or less. You could do just a couple tablespoons. You could do a lot more if you wanted this to be almost more like a cordial. And then honey. Because we have a good 2 cups of liquid, we want at least 1 cup of honey. So you want at least half the amount of honey as you have liquid. So it's a chilly day, so my honey is moving slowly. It looks delicious though. I might have to get in there and help it out a little bit. Now my elderberry syrup is now just warm because I added water to it too. So it's not hot. So when I add this honey, it's not going to cook the honey, but it should still be warm enough to help it sort of dissolve in. And I want to make sure we're a good full cup of honey. So we're going to overflow. So before we overflow, I'll start putting it in here. Here's my little spatula. Yum. And then just work that in. So scrape off my spatula. And just using a fork, or you could use a whisk, stir. And you'll feel, like right now I can feel the resistance of the honey that's in there. But I can feel it coming into solution. So it's getting worked in, and that resistance from the honey is going away as it dissolves into the syrup. Now the syrup isn't thick like a maple syrup. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's thick like a real maple syrup. It's not going to be thick like a fake syrup. So it's still quite runny. But it will be delicious. As a matter of fact, I am going to taste it. Now that the honey is all worked in, I'm just going to grab a spoon. Hold it up here so you can see like this beautiful color. It's like this deep, almost black, red color. As it sits a little bit, it will turn a little bit brown, but it's tasty nonetheless. Oh, I don't want to stick that back in there. That'd be bad. Oh yeah, it tastes wonderful. So now we need to put it in a container. So again, I have these cute little bottles and a funnel. And also just stick it in a canning jar, put it in your fridge, wherever you prefer. We'll pour this one. Beautiful. The rest I'll just pour in here. Looks like I might actually need, can I do it all? I bet I could. I bet I can. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? A little bit more here. Yeah, we'll call that good. I'll just eat the last little bit myself. And then lastly, a label, again, just so that we know what these are. Pop this off. I'm not going to close it up yet since it's still a little warm. Let the steam come out. Elderberry syrup. And I'll put the month and the year that I made it, just in case it gets lost in your fridge. You could put the specific date if you want, but not usually necessary. And there, voila, we have elderberry syrup. So just some quick thoughts on serving this. So we talked about all of its benefits, but not really how you would use it. So I love to just eat it by the spoonful. I mean, it's nothing better than just grabbing a spoon when you have a little sweet tooth bug in you. Grab a spoonful of it, eat that. It's delicious. You can pour it over ice cream. You can have it even over pancakes or waffles. That's great too. If you want an alcoholic drink made out of it, you can pour a little bit of this into like a champagne flute and then pour in some Prosecco or champagne. That makes a really festive looking cocktail for the holidays. And then actually my favorite ways to use it is in yogurt. So I will scoop up a bowl of either plain or vanilla yogurt or even coconut yogurt, and then just drizzle a tablespoon over top. That's yummy. And also oatmeal. I love it in oatmeal. So just cook up a batch of oatmeal with or without any other fruit. Top it with a little drizzle of a tablespoon of the elderberry syrup. And again, it's so delicious that nobody thinks of it as an herbal remedy. They just think of it as a sweet treat. But yet, it's so good for you. Thank you for joining me making elderberry syrup. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will try it in your own kitchen. It's an easy and delicious way to bring herbal goodness into your home. Again, my name is Tracy Martirana from Holistic Wellness with Tracy, and I use my knowledge of nutrition, Ayurveda, yoga, herbs, and meditation to bring you information and inspiration to help you live a healthy, happy, and balanced life. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button. It helps YouTube know that people are interested in content like mine. Thanks and have a great day.